Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Out of the Park Baseball 22 playthrough. In my commitment to making sure that I'm not wasting anybody's time, I feel like I've said this every episode, but it's important. I am aggressive, and I want to win. I hate losing, personally. So we're gonna make some trades. This Pirates team, and we're gonna keep going until we can't make any more deals. If anyone wants to get their Chris Greer on, any NFL fans in here, I am recording this a few days after the Dolphins just traded up, traded back, traded up in the NFL draft. And Chris Greer's just been a shrewd moves machine. Since he took over as GM, we're going to try to do the same thing. We are going to try to make multiple shrewd moves to put the Pirates in a better chance this year to see if we can make a run, and next year. This team, I have some of it planned out. I did a little prep work, as all good professionals do. Did some prep work. I have some trades that I'm 100% going to make, but then other ones that I'm not sure we're just going to go until we can't make anything else. Some of it's scripted, most of it isn't, but we'll see. But this team will be unrecognizable. Both of the lineup and the rotation. We'll be getting rid of Adam Frazier, and then we have multiple options of what we want to do with Brian Reynolds. We still might keep him. I'm not sure. There's a couple players that I might want to take the plunge on and get rid of, but the only untouchable player on our roster right now is Brian Hayes. He has been dynamite this year, and I believe we gave him that big extension. He's not going to be touched. But everything outside of Brian Hayes, whether it is in the lineup or in the rotation, can be touched. And you'll see here we're 11 games out of first place in the NL Central. We are 8.5 games out of the wild card in the NL. So shaping up to be a lost season, not necessarily, content with that. But, we're going to try to, instead of waiting until July, we could probably wait till, the trade deadline, the end of July. But then you risk, because there's some players that I want that are injured right now that we can't trade for. But we run the risk of prices going up. And then, for certain players, we also run the risk of them, number one, getting traded somewhere else. But us not being able to come back from the deficit we are. Now, 11 games in the middle of July, not shaping up to be a playoff season, but that doesn't mean that we can't turn it around. And we're not going to have to trade too many. I don't think I can see one prospect here that might stink to part with. But other than that, I think we'll be in the clear, just some low-level guys. So number one, we'll go to the transaction page, and we'll start with prepping for some future deals here. So the first player that we're going to go ahead and trade for is going to be, we have two players that we're going to trade for on the San Francisco Giants. And the first one you can see auto-populates here, Tommy La Stella. We're going to trade him in order to have that backlog at second base. So when we do get rid of Frazier, we'll have someone to take over. La Stella not having his best year, that's okay. I believe, just based on his previous major league results. You look at his 832 OPS, 792 OPS, 845 OPS over the last three years. I believe there's upside there. And if you look, he gives us very similar ratings to La Stella. With contact, a little bit more power than Frazier, avoids Ks at a very high level, and he's controllable too. Of course, he's going to cost a little bit of money, but a little bit less than Frazier actually this year. But Frazier's an expiring contract, and La Stella isn't. But $2 million for the next 2 years isn't for the rest of this year, and 2022, 2023 isn't bad at all. You'll see our head scout and the OSA views him the same. Good defensive option, and then while he's not a base stealer extraordinaire, that's you can't get everything. So, and it doesn't really cost a lot to get him. So if we go back we're going to go ahead and make this work now. And just look at all the options we have here. So really, they'll take anybody for him. The one person that I saw that I'm going to add is Kyle Wilkie. I believe that's how it's pronounced. 23-year-old catcher, high A ball. You're probably not going to have much of a major league career if that's the case. You can see here what our head scout thinks. You can see what OSA thinks. Not much of a player. He's a 5'11" catcher. So I think that this is more than a fair trade. So we're going to go ahead and just execute Tommy LaStella. So perfect. We now have Tommy. So our next player for the Giants is going to be Tristan Beck. So, again, we don't have to give up a lot to get him. And if you look at Beck, some good stuff, good pitches, solid pitches. We're buying low. Having a down year, a 4 whip is pretty crazy. 12 base on balls per 9 is wild. But again, he's only thrown 3 innings. So I think we're buying low on him. The ability is there for sure. You look at OSA, they're a little bit more down on him than our head scout is, but still, even OSA says, hey, this guy has some good pitches. So he's arbitration eligible. You can see improvement coming. And again, whether he winds up in the bullpen or as our starting rotation, we don't have to give up a lot to get him. So again, if you remember my strategy, it is acquire major league level talent without giving up much. And you're going to take some risks. Some of these guys are lottery tickets. Tristan Beck, lottery ticket. He could absolutely not turn out. But the one person I'm going to include here is Rodolfo Nolasco. So we're going to add him. And, yeah, he is, we're looking at, high contact potential, high, void K potential. He's had good minor league success. So, we're not necessarily giving up a nobody here. This is someone that has a future potential in the game of baseball. But you're going to see the profile that is very similar to the left fielder that we will potentially trade for if we do decide to get rid of Brian Reynolds. So it's very similar, and he's years away. And, again, we're not going to there's going to be almost zero chance that we play this through long enough where Rodolfo Nolasco turns into an excellent major leaguer and we regret trading for him. Who knows? That could be the case. I highly doubt it. But Ben Cherington agrees. Seems like a decent deal. I think it'd help our team. All right, great. So we now have added Tristan Beck. So that is 2 down for our friends at San Francisco. So we've got those 2 out of the way. You can hear me maybe crossing off some papers here. Next is we're going to go right away and move right to a division rival to get rid of Adam Frazier. So I'm going to go to the Cincinnati Reds. And any guess on who we're going to do? It's not Nick Lodolo, just looking to see what it would take to acquire him. Any guess on who we're going to get for Adam Frazier here? So we're going to pull him up. So the person that we decided to get is going to give an upgrade to one of our starting positions, hopefully. It is Nick Senzel. So one-time elite, I don't say elite prospect, but high prospect status. I believe he was top 25 as an MLB prospect at one point. So anyway, center fielder, he's going to solve the mess that we have there now between Anthony Alford and Brian Goodwin. So we're if we look at Nick Senzel, again, arbitration eligible, good, moderate defense at center field, but good on the base paths, high hit ratings here. He's still producing 1 WAR, even though his OPS plus is under league average. But I believe that there's definitely future growth with this player. So we go to scouting. You can see some improvement there as well. Solid investment. Our scout thinks if he can continue to produce the current level, expect modest production from Senzel. So I think that he solves our black hole in center field. We have LaStella, so we don't necessarily have to worry about Adam Frazier. Even though he is having a great year, he's very flexible, can play multiple positions. I was talking myself out of trading him here. But again, here's the bad part. arbitration eligible. His salary is $4.5 million. So it's not going to get cheaper to maintain a little maybe average, above average player. So we're going to dump some salary here. We're going to take Nick Senzel and improve our outfield at the same time. So you can see our money has improved as well. That's great. So now we have acquired a potential starting rotation piece in Tristan Beck, starting second baseman, Tommy LaStella, and then we traded our current starting second baseman, Adam Frazier, for Nick Senzel, who improves our center field or improves our outfield options. So that's the three that are down. Next, we will go to the trade that is going to give me a little bit of heartburn. Going to give me a little bit of heartburn here because we're going to trade a couple prospects, but we're going to go to Arizona and try to not Nick Ahmed here, but we're going to acquire a player that will hopefully solve. It's a little bit of a late bloomer, but will hopefully solve one of the, again, black holes in our roster. Even though it's not necessarily an issue this year, could become an issue in future years. So if you're thinking about what other position it can be after we address center field, it is catcher. So right now our catcher is 31-year-old Jacob Stallings. Good defensive ability, meh on the base path, meh at bat. He's having a good year, 1 WAR. He's having a breakout year in terms of his ability at the plate. I don't think that... I'm not going to want to pay him more than this, and I don't think that this is something where he has much room to improve. So what we're going to do is we are going to trade for Carson Kelly. Why, you may ask? A slow poke on the base path. Let's just get that right out of the way. Slow poke on the base pass. He is an elite catcher in terms of skill. Natural leader as well, and he also has good eye discipline and a little bit better ratings batting wise than Stallings does. Arbitration eligible, $1.5 million. I'm not opposed to increasing his, paying for him when, there's still some left in the tank at age 26. So I called him a late bloomer, but that might not be the case. I just might not have come to a late bloomer. If you look at his years previous to this year, hit 115, 240, 220. This year, hitting 270. Is he going to keep this pace up for every year moving forward? Highly doubt it. But hitting it, just about league average, 1.5 WAR, even if, whatever, with this kind of rating behind the plate, whatever he gives you at the plate is a bonus. So we're going to trade a couple prospects, relatively low end for him. See, if I go right here to see what makes this work, I can only do Brian Reynolds or Mitch Keller. No thanks. But I'm going to go to what gets us in the ballpark here. So we're going to go to prospects. And the first one is a guy that I have mentioned in previous videos here. And we're going to rate our guys. Let's see. Scroll on down here. It's not Quinn Priester. It is Tanaj Thomas. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm not 100% sure. But can we make this work right now? Ooh, they're still going to want some high-end talent on our team. So we're not going to do that yet. We're going to say, you know what, we'll give you another minor league piece, and let's see who we can give him. We're not going to go to AAA. We'll go to AA, and we're going to throw in Max Kranick. And again, this might be one that I ultimately regret. Don't necessarily think I will, but he has some potential to be a solid, back of the rotation guy or a or a bullpen. I know by a couple simulations he did that we did last year, that was the case. So again, we're not there. We can't get to complete the trade right there, but we're close. We're in the ballpark. So let's see what can get this done. We can include. We're already we're about to trade for Carson Kelly, who's a 26-year-old catcher. Arden Pabst, a 26-year-old AA catcher. who has very much the same profile, but worse behind the plate. So we'll go ahead and include him in the deal to get it done because, this is going to create, I don't want to say a logjam because the catcher depth isn't great. Or we could look at trading Daniel Amaral here, left fielder. But with Reynolds going, maybe in the future we could use him. But we believe that Carson Kelly is going to stay around for a while, so we're going to include him in the deal. And we're going to complete that trade. Our cash is going to decrease a little bit. That's fine. Oh, look, we got a message here. Our fans are happy we acquired Carson Kelly. That's great. Overall fan interest increases. Excellent. So we now have Carson Kelly behind the plate, Tommy Listella at second, and Nick Senzel in center field. So making some serious moves here. There's another player that I want to look at from Arizona, and it's a possible left fielder candidate. And the only reason this intrigued me was because of how little it actually cost to get Seth Beer. Seth Beer, home run power behind the plate, not great in left field, kind of on the base path. Reminds me of a left fielder, Pete Alonso, to be quite honest. But looking at this, once heralded prospect came over in the in the trade with Houston for Greinke, I believe it was. So look, we can give up really anybody to get a Beer. So looking at this, it's like, okay, well, who do we want to give up? We can give up a fellow left fielder who is much further down the prospect pipeline here. But Jack Herman's still a little young. We might want to keep him around. There was one player that I was looking at here that could get us very close, but we could also just go ahead and throw in Denny Roman, 22-year-old low A reliever. I mean, in what world, if the Pirates call up the Diamondbacks and say, hey, we'll give you this reliever for Seth Beer, I mean, in what world do they turn it down? But this is a left fielding candidate. We're going to leave this here though, because based on who we trade for, we may not need him, and we don't want to go too far, crazy, or we're not going to be able to pay these guys in the future. So we're gonna hang back on Seth Beer, but depending on some of our other trades, we might come back and execute that. The next trade is the one that involves the most players that we're going to make today. So this is going to be with the Kansas City Royals, and you can see it right here, baby. We're going to get Jackson Kowar, Brady Singer, and Brad Keller. And we're going to trade away Mitch Keller and Tyler Anderson. So I know, pretty wild. But if you look at these players, we're getting first of all, what are we sending out? Tyler Anderson, 31-year-old reliever. I believe he's only signed for 1 year. 1 year, $2.5 million. Okay. Next is Mitch Keller. When is enough, to be quite honest? He has had a ton of potential, but he's never been able to put it together at the major league level. So you look at he's having a bad year in terms of ERA, in terms of WHIP, still putting up almost one piece of WAR here, despite some of his ungodly numbers. You see 100 Ks over 95 innings, that's positive. 9.5 strikeouts per 9, that's positive. A little bit too high on the walks. Again, very unlucky. But you look at his entire career, his BABIP's been very high at every position. So you never know what you're getting with Keller, and that inconsistency is just absolute killer in my opinion. So we look at Brad Keller, 25-year-old right-hander, having a solid year, 107 Ks and 102 innings. Ratings are high across the board. Walks are a little bit lower. Again, he's been unlucky, but he's still been able to put together a decent year. So that's one person. The only issue with Brad here is that we're gonna have to pay him a little bit. This might be an extension candidate that we could potentially offer. Next, Brady Singer, also recently a high level prospect status. Again, ratings very high. You look at what he's doing this year; he's getting a little bit lucky with BABIP. Ks are down, but walks are down. His whip barely letting people on. So is he as good in real life or in this game as Brad Keller? No. But again, another solid piece. And then Jackson Coer, again, high ratings. He might end up being a bullpen piece, to be quite honest. But this is more of a flyer. Can we? I might actually remove him from the trade if this means we can do this deal as is. But I think there's 3 little lottery tickets here, and I think these 3 in combination will be worth more to the Pirates than Mitch Keller and whatever financial flexibility Tyler Anderson gives. So if I remove him, I can complete that trade as is. What would it take to add in Coer to that? Let's see. What would it take to finish that deal now? We can really throw in anybody right now, to be quite honest. So let's see here. What can we? Alex Destino, AA, 25-year-old left fielder. Let's see let's click him to see. Yeah, again, not much of a future it looks like here. A negative WAR at a high level last year. So again, our money's going to drop a little bit, but not a huge deal right now. We can always ship some of these players off in the off season. So we're going to execute this trade here. So Tyler Anderson, Alex Destino, Mitch Keller for Jackson Coer, Brady Singer, Brad frickin' Keller. So again, our rotation totally changed now. Totally changed. So now we have a few options here on what do we want to do. Let's go back and actually look at this screen. Let's take stock of what we've done here. We will sim this day, and we will produce our new lineups here. We'll ask Mike Scioscia to do some of the grunt work for us. Then we'll go to pitching. We'll ask Mike Scioscia to do that as well. So let's go to the lineup. Where do we need some additional help at here? So solid left fielder, again, we have with Brian Reynolds. Let me actually just go back to the homepage so we can look at it all at once in an easy format here. So Anthony Alford still at center field. Not sure why that's the case. That's not going to happen. That's going to be Nick Senzel here. Brian Hayes, Brian Reynolds, Tommy La Stella, Carson Kelly, Colin Moran, Kevin Newman, Gregory Polanco. So I believe we're making strides in the positive directions, but we're still not 100% there just quite yet. If you look at the rotation, Brad Keller, Brady Singer rounds it out, and then we have Domingo Herman, who we traded for in another video, who despite his record in ERA has actually had a solid season for us. 1.6 WAR. He's been very unlucky with BABIP. His whip's high, but overall, he's been a good. This was a good trade at first. When I saw the numbers, I thought that it was a bad trade from our end. But digging a little bit deeper into those numbers, it turned out to be, in my opinion, a great trade for us. So we have updated, 3/5 this year of our starting rotation, and you can see Tristan Beck is back here, is a setup man in the bullpen. So everyone making major league contributions, or I should say will make major league contributions. So now what do we do with Brian Reynolds? Do we have to trade him? No, we do not. Good in left field, good on the base paths, good batting rating here. The worrisome part is you can look at this, I guess, a couple ways. Low batting average again this year, which is similar to what he did last year, but both years are departure of his entire career. Still putting up I would say a little bit below average OPS, despite only hitting 230, and providing almost 1 win a WAR, even while hitting below average. One of the things that's concerning, again, you can see in his career, other than he struck out a bit in his first major league season, but other than that, he has kept the strikeouts, and walks at least. They're either been close or he's been limited on the strikeouts. This year, that number seems to be creeping up, and the walks don't seem to be particularly close. That reflects, I guess, some trends in baseball as a whole. But is there something better out there? Can we do something better? So my first instinct was I had a player in mind, and actually he plays for the Seattle Mariners, and it's was a prospect status. Taylor Trammell. Not sure how you pronounce it. I believe they came over from the San Diego Padres at a certain point. But again, look, good in left field, great on the base paths. Is he as good at the plate? Not so sure. But again, you look, 799 OPS, still higher than Brian Reynolds. Has a little bit more pop, at least this year, plays in a bigger ballpark. The strikeouts, that's worse than Brian Reynolds for sure already. But again, he's batting better than an average player. So you look at his ratings here. They don't differ significantly between, left-handed, right-hander in terms of pitching. In terms of hitting. So if I look at scouting, it says, average big leaguer here, or head scout. Probably won't be a star, but should still be a solid contributor. So let's see, what does it take to get Taylor first? Is it going to be particularly difficult? I would be okay in this scenario to trade Quinn Priester, just straight up, because he has the option to play third base, and if we look at his ratings here, that's not going to go great either. But 20 years old, high A, both OSA and the head scout don't think he has much in terms of movement, control. He thinks his stuff is good. But everything else is kind of lacking. You can see at high A ball, his whip is high. He walks a lot. It just hasn't really been the pitcher that you need to see in order to, think that, okay, this guy's gonna have a starting rotation. And you got to remember, we just drafted Kumar Rocker. So again, I believe Rocker will get to the major leagues before Quinn. So we're going to go ahead and make this trade. I'm kind of talking myself into it here. So that means we're going to have a left field. Option here. Mariners. So we're going to trade Priester straight up for Taylor. So now that means I like how this team is shaping up. I really do. So now that means we have an option of what do we do with Brian Reynolds, since he's our left fielder. We like Taylor a little bit more. What do we ultimately do with Brian Reynolds? So we can shop a player first. So we're going to go ahead and just shop them and see if there's any team, anything that pops up that kind of sparks our attention. And if not, I have a team that I want to look into here about who we could trade for. So just look, I know I'm speeding through this here, but if I just look at a couple names here, none of the pitchers stick out. Sean Newcomb does a little bit, actually, but not enough for me to want to pull the trigger on that straight up. Red Sox, I don't see anything. White Sox, don't see anything here. Cubs, no. Reds, no. Indians, no. Colorado Rockies, we may visit them in a little while, but Kyle Freeland, no. I think half that rotation would do good to get out of there, obviously for their stats. Okay, Matthew Boyd, no. Spencer Turnbull does interest me a little bit, but I think he can be had other ways. Let's see. Keep scrolling down here. Again, nothing really sticking out is something that, or at least any team is offering to do. Yeah, J.D. Davis, that is intriguing, but we have Brian Hayes isn't going anywhere, so we're gonna stick there. Sean Manaea does interest me, but again, He's been good. I think his name recognition carries more than what his skill does. Chris Bassett does, but we might circle back and look at making a deal for him outside of here. The Padres for sure. That's intriguing there. So let's go. Look, the Padres are offering quite a bit, so let's just go in there. We're not going to trade Joe Musgrove for that. No freaking way. But it looks like they were willing to give up quite a bit for him. I would be interested just to see Trent Grisham. We already figured out our center field, so no, that's not going to change. I'm not even going to try Tatis. Not even going to try C.J. Abrams. The second baseman we've already solved. We already solved the catcher. But if they were going to do Musgrove, let's see if will they do Snell? They will do Snell. That torpedoes our money though, and I would rather not do that. I wonder if I can get them if I can get them to retain like all of their. Yeah, see, that's not going to work either. Okay, let's see. Denison Lament. Okay, so this one does get us close, and this guy could be a freaking ace. This guy has dynamite stuff. Arbitration eligible, $4.2 million this year. I mean, this guy has strikeout ability, quite a bit of walks. His whip's high. Let's look at scouting here. Wicked slider, according to our head scout. 3 pitches. Platoon issues, according to the head scout. It's OSA. They think the same thing. Outstanding slider, outstanding fastball, and a sinker with good life. He's known for a slider in real life, and I don't know if he's going to start because his shoulder. He has shoulder pain or elbow pain, one of the two. Suggests he may have trouble with opposite-handed hitters. So let's see how bad are those platoon ratings. I mean, against righties, the guy is just dominant. 80 stuff. Yikes. Against lefties, I mean, it's not terrible. His pitches, are quote-unquote wicked, as our head scout likes to say. Let's see. What would it take to get it done? Oh, yeah. I mean, we could do this for sure. Okay. So that's one option. And another option I was thinking about was I just want to see what the Rays have a lot of talent. And I just want to see what they would potentially give up for Brian Reynolds. They would give up one of their second base prospects. But again, we already solved that second base issue. That's not a huge deal for us. I'm not even going to try Franco. I'm not even going to try it. Let's see, Brandon Lowe. He can play more than second base. But, yeah, is there any way we could get him? Yeah, we don't have any player that they would give up for him. Brendan McKay, last year he was, Brendan McKay, we had him and he led us to quite a number of division titles. Not a great year. I wonder if we could get him. Let's just remove Brian Reynolds. Could we get him for, yeah, that's really our only shot. Okay. Glass now. I'm not even going to try. Ryan Yarbo, I wouldn't mind actually trying with other players. But anyway, so what can we do here? Okay, Brandon McKay, that's good to know. I want to try something with the Mets as well. And I have here already queued up Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso straight up for Brian Reynolds. This is against a lot of instincts that I have in my body, just because again, poor defensively, not great on the base paths, home run power for sure, but what are we all giving up here? Let me see ratings between lefty and the guy mashes. The guy just straight up mashes. This year, 20 home runs, 64 RBI, hitting 233 along with his, I guess that's to be expected, 836 OPS, hit his OPS plus 130. I don't know. It is enticing as hell. I kind of want to do it, but then we got to figure out what are we going to do with first base, and what do we do with, do we want to bypass Lamet for Alonso? I don't know. Because what I'm afraid of with Lamet is that you trade for him, and then, a month down the road, the guy, needs some surgery. And you're just like, well, that was a waste. I mean, but then you have to balance that out with Alonso, who is likely not going to age well. 26 years old. I mean, his batting will be fine, but I don't know if we could expect a DH to come to the National League. I would make the plunge. Let's see. Ben Charrington says, hands down, it's a good deal in my opinion. I already tried Dominic Smith. They won't give it. I think that's why they're willing to make this deal, is because they won't give up Dominic Smith. They're like, okay, what are we going to do with Pete Alonso? We might as well get someone to play in the outfield. I don't know what they're going to do with Reynolds either, because they have McNeil. They have Conforto. I mean, they have like a logjam in the outfield. So let's see what we'll go back to the Padres here. Yeah. It's so tough to decide between these two. It is so hard to decide. I think I'm gonna go with Alonso, Pete Alonso. Take the plunge, the plunge with the polar bear. He provides something that we don't really have in terms of power. Don't really have in terms of power. You probably hear my chair squeak in the background there. First base, I mean, who knows if that's going to kill us or not? I don't know. But we have a left fielder in waiting who will be fine. What are we going to do with our rotation now? Let's think that through. I mean, we have Rocker who will be coming up eventually. Do we like our rotation that much? Or could we get other rotation pieces as well? That's something that we have to consider. But our first base option right now is what? Let's see what our depth is like here at if we go to lineups. Let's see. It's Colin Moran. That's it. And we'll, after making this trade, okay, he's better defensively than Alonso, just as slow on the base pass. So we're not getting any, we're not taking a downgrade in there. Better power. Well, I think we actually gain a little bit of money when we ship him out. So, but what's our organization look like in terms of? Don't want to go there. In terms of, first base. So we go to transactions here. What's our AAA situation look like? Will Craig? I mean, does that inspire confidence in anybody? Let's see if we go to AA here. Let's see Altoona curve. Let's sort by position. I mean, Dylan Busby, Ryan Ripken. Again, any huge confidence there? I do believe we have someone. Mason Martin, first baseman. Yep, torn thigh muscle. All right, so that's what we're going to do. We are going to go with. I can't believe I'm actually trading for this freaking polar bear. We're going to trade Brian Reynolds for Pete Alonso. Let's go to the Mets here. Can we get anything else? They want to do this. They're open to it. So let's see. Can we get anyone else to make me feel a little bit better about doing this here? So let's just throw. There's no way I get Pete Crow Armstrong. Let's see. JT Ginn. Could I get JT Ginn? Nope. Can't get JT Ginn. Josiah Miller. I don't think I'm going to be able to trade for him. He was just drafted. Yeah, okay. Can't do that. Let's see. Anyone from OSA that's high potential I could get? Any relief pitcher here? No. All right, you know what? We're just going to execute. We're going to pull the trigger. Brian Reynolds for Pete Alonso. Received a message. Oh, we're ecstatic that we acquired Pete Alonso. Overall fan interest increase is amazing. Okay, I like that. So our lineup now looks totally different, especially with Reynolds out. So again, I guess we don't really have to look for, go back to Seth Beer and try to make that acquisition. But there are some people that I'd be interested here. Let's just go ahead and rework our lineups. Oh, they must not. We're just going to finish today here. And now we're going to... Yeah, so look, Taylor Trammell in left field now. Nick Senzel still on the bench. That will change. We'll go to the home screen here and take a look. So quite the change to our lineup. I think it's a much more power-laden lineup. But if you're looking here, what are the two areas we still need? And I know we're coming up on 40 minutes here, but I think this is an episode that's pretty worth it. What are some areas we still need? I think starting pitching must be addressed. We can figure out the bullpen in free agency or, whatever. If we have an excess of starting options, we can, always put them in the bullpen. We can figure that out. We're not there yet. We're not good enough to worry about the bullpen, in my opinion. I think right field is something that we should take a look at because Gregory Polanco hitting 195, good on the base paths, good in the field, but signed through 2022, $11 million. I think it's a little bit too steep for us. I'm willing to keep a lot of that money as long as we get something in return. I don't really have any idea on what we would offer here. This is a part that's not scripted at all. I have no idea. I have a right fielder in mind that we could use, we could upgrade to, and that's also with the Seattle Mariners. And it's a low cost option. That's what I found originally. It is Mitch Haniger. So I could get Mitch Haniger for next to nothing, and yeah, I have to pay him, but solid defensive option. Solid. Is he good as Plunk on the base paths? No. Good hitter. He's having a down year. That is an option. I don't know if I want to spend more money on that, but I want to see if I can give up Gregory Polanco here. See, I think this would be a great deal. We get Polanco off the books, and it's $11 million off the books. We take on Mitch's, $3 million salary, and we just have to give up what? We have to give up a prospect, a low-level prospect for that. I mean, that's really hard to back away from. Let me see. I also want to go to Colorado really quick, and I believe he's a left fielder though. Yeah, Raimel Tapia. I want to see if we can get him. Does he play right field at all? Yeah, but not as well as he does there. I would like to see what it costs to get him because that might be someone who I would want on the bench. I mean, have to give up a little bit to get him, and we'll have to pay him too, which is no good. I don't want to have to do that because he's costs $2 million and going through arbitration. I just don't think we'll get the use out of him that we would need, so we won't go that route. I would like to just see, right fielding, right fielders for every team out there. I'm not going to try Acuna. I'm not going to try Cole Calhoun. Talk about disappointing. Trey Mancini, I'm not going to trade for him. Red Sox, Hunter Renfroe, no. Could Verdugo move to right? He could. What would it take to get Alex Verdugo? Man, that would be a coup, wouldn't it? Alex Verdugo. I feel like that's going to be tough to get him. Yeah, Brian Hayes. What if I put in Polanco? Probably that hurts. Yeah. What if I retain 100% of Polanco's salary? Does that get me anywhere? No. Gets me nowhere. Okay, so Verdugo's off the table. White Sox. No, nothing there. It's interesting. Cubs. No. I'm looking for Major League talent here. Castellanos. No. Indians. Franmil Reyes. He's a slugger for sure. I mean, what? Look at that. Look at that right field position ranking 35. Yikes. Never mind. When the DH comes to the National League, we'll talk. No more Mizera. Yeah, see, that's not bad. He's going to be a free agent after this year. Yikes. Could I get him straight up for Polanco? Yeah, see, I can't. I just don't know why the whole Haniger thing. What do they not like about Haniger? What am I missing here? Kyle Tucker? There's no chance. Yeah, there's no chance for Kyle Tucker. The Royals, I don't know who they... Oh, Jorge Solar. I can't imagine he's good in right field. Yeah, no. Nope. Angels. I don't know if they're in win now mode. Could I maybe get Joe Adele off of them? No, they just bring up Joe Adele. If they... Yeah, see, that's not going to work either. I'm really interested about this Haniger thing. Dodgers don't have any... Oh, sorry. I guess go up to the Major League Club here. Mookie Betts. I was going to say, that would have been stupid if I kept that in. Oh, yeah, Dodgers don't have anyone in right field. Garrett Cooper from the Marlins, no. Brewers, Jackie Bradley Jr., no. No, thank you. Aaron Judge, not even going to try. Oh, Clark Schmidt, I forgot. While we're here, we should just make that deal real quick. Oh, no way. Not with this stuff. I'm not paying that much for Clark Schmidt. You're crazy. Mets, no. Oakland Athletics, Ramon Laureano. What's his status here? Okay. Strikes out quite a bit. But, I mean, when you're looking at Gregory Polanco, what the frick's the difference, you know? So... I'd have to keep some of his salary. Yeah, see, that's not going to work out. Phillies, Bryce Harper, not even going to try. Padres, Jerkerson Profar, who I feel like he's been in the major leagues for like 20 years. The Giants, is that Yastrzemski? Yep, Yastrzemski. He's 30? I would have never have guessed that in a million years that Mike Yastrzemski's 30 years old. Let's see, could I get him straight up? Yeah, see, they can't afford it. I feel like, the only thing we can do here, because we were not even going to be able to get prospects for him, because they're going to look at him. Like, I am surprised that he holds a net positive, trade value with the Mariners. So much. That's just so much like Gregory Polanco. Yeah, there's no way I'm including those guys in that deal. So yeah, if I go back to the Mariners here, yeah, like this just blows my mind. Okay, so Ben Cherington also agrees, makes it happen as his advice. Oh, I'm trying, Ben. Relax, Ben. So let's see, 24-year-old high A, 21-year-old. I'm trying to look for players who don't really who may have the potential, but 20-year-old high A ball, 4 walks. I mean, 4 walks per 9 is kind of been the MO there. High whip. I don't know. There could be some potential there just looking at the ratings. So we'll go with someone who we're going to get this done. We're going to trade for Mitch Haniger. 1, because he's about as good as Gregory Polanco, and 2, we're going to save about $8 million doing it. So that is something that we'll do. We've already looked at trading Daniel Amaral, so we'll go ahead and do that. We'll get it done. Boom. She's a personal man. She's pleased by the signing. Oh, okay. I didn't know he was popular. So I know he had an up and down career there. So there's 2 other players that I want to take a look at, and I swear we will wrap this up within the hour mark of our video. But they're just pitching prospects, or not prospects, but pitching options that I found that could come relatively cheap. First one is going to be from Matt Hall from the Boston Red Sox. So if I come down here, look at Matt Hall, 27 years old, still has options left. Lefty pitcher, pretty good pitches. Movement control, but if we go to ratings, pitches well against lefties and righties. We go to scouting. Hawk pitches way into the emergency role. OSA thinks he's a solid bullpen contributor. That's probably where he's going to end up, as all lefties do. And I believe we can get him for next to nothing. And I think that could help out. Yeah, see, just absolutely nothing. Po Yu Chen, that actually decent stats here for his first year. Grant Ford, 50K, 16 walks. We'll make that trade. We'll put in Grant Ford for Matt Hall. Make that deal. That should help our bullpen. Okay. And then the other person I wanted to look at is from Washington, the Washington Nationals, and that is Steven Fuentes here. So, yeah, you can see I already have him loaded in. Good pitches, good movement, good control, all, above average from major league level. And so this is first year in the major leagues, you can see below. But he's, his K through 9's dropped. His walks have stayed similar, which is positive. And then if I go to scouting, doesn't seem like he's going to be someone you want in a big spot, according to OSA. Head scout says appears to be quality arm who can now fill mid-rotation slot. So righty, 6'2", 24 years old, still some potential. And I believe we can also get him for very little as well. Okay, so not very little. But we could, Todd Frazier, he's going to be a free agent after this year. How much playing time does he really get? I'll make that trade. Steven Fuentes for Todd Frazier. And we are going to keep Kevin Newman at shortstop. So we're going to make that trade. So now let's go back to lineups. We'll sim this game because we're on the All-Star break. And then look, our first game back is going to be against the Mets, so old Polar Bear can make his start. So, okay, we're not Anthony Alford. You're out. You're out against everyone. I know there's an easier way to do that as well. Is to how do we? Oh yeah, here's how we. No, never mind. I'll figure that out. Okay, so. Righty DH, he's in the lineup. Lefty DH, he's in the lineup. All right, so we're going to say for lefty, Anthony Alford is the replacement there. So now if you look at our lineups, which I might have to manually change here, we have Trammell leading off, Mitch Haniger in the 2 spot, Tommy Listell in the 3rd, Brian Hayes in the 4th spot, Pete Alonso 5th. Carson Kelly 6. I like Kelly at 6. I like Newman at 7. I maybe want to move Senzel up a little bit, but we'll just keep him there now. So I think overall our lineup, although it is indistinguishable from where we started, I believe has made positive strides. And then if we also look at our pitching staff as well, so we'll go update the staff, update the bullpen. Brad Keller, JT Brubaker, Domingo Herman, Steven Fuentes, Brady Singer. And then you look, we have Max Hall for long relief. We have Tristan Beck as our setup man. I think our rotation has improved as well. I don't think it's improved as much as the lineup, but I think it's still improved nonetheless. And we have, cavalry is on the way in terms of rotation help in the lower levels. So I think we made some shrewd deals here. Time will tell. But I'm happy with where we're at, and we'll see what we can do in our next video when we come back and start sitting through some stuff. So thanks for joining me. I know it was an hour-long trade bonanza, but I think overall it was solid regardless. So thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you all next time. Thanks.